Alright guys, welcome to another episode of The House in Fata Morgana. So, last week, where we last left off, Giselle had just brought in a package of food for Mikkel, and Mikkel was being kind of rude, like just ordering her to take it to the cellar and stuff, but I don't think she's yet realized that Mikkel is doing that so that he'll keep enough distance from her so that she won't be affected by his curse. It seemed Giselle really didn't know much about me. Despite being sent here from my house, she was unaware of the monthly deliveries, as well as the reason why I lived in the mansion all by myself. Why, though, would they not have told her anything? Why had she been sent here left completely in the dark? Giselle looked up at me, fear and bewilderment in her eyes, though I thought I could see a glint of suspicion beneath it all, like her true feelings were bubbling to the surface. Everyone had darkness in them they kept hidden. No one was exactly who they appeared to be. She was undoubtedly thinking, I'm not here because I want to be. I knew from the moment I first saw her that her bubbly, sweet affect was all a facade. Had she thought I was dense enough to not realize? She was no different than anyone else. What I didn't understand, though, was why she refused to leave no matter how hard I pushed. What was she hiding beneath that innocent-looking face? What was she thinking? What did she carry on her shoulders? Everyone is hiding something, deceiving those around them. I had to figure out what she really was. May I ask you something? Yes? On the day you arrived, you said you made a teeny tiny mistake while working at my family's house. Tell me about that. What did you do at the Bollinger estate? In that moment, and my cat is acting really hyper right now. What the hell? Brief though it was, her disposition wavered. Fear? Terror? No, perhaps anger? I couldn't tell. Nevertheless, it was abundantly clear that that was a subject she had no interest in me breaching, and so she had borne her fangs. The smile she donned now was visibly forced. It's nothing you need concern yourself with, Master. I promise it was an insignificant little thing. She couldn't say. Why couldn't she tell me? Hey, what had she done there? What did this woman know about that house? What did she know about me? What was concealed beneath that smile of hers? I am the master of this house, and you are a servant. And still you refuse to tell me? Like I said, it's nothing. There's no reason to bother you with a mere servant's personal blunders, master. What are you hiding? I am not hiding anything. Then you should be able to tell me exactly what you did at the Bollinger estate. Like I said, tell me. Tell me. You won't tell me a thing about yourself, and yet you demand others tell you about themselves. Here you are practically threatening me, demanding I tell you something I don't want to talk about. And yet you still haven't told me anything about the painting. Oh-ho, so I was right. You do have something to hide. How many times must I repeat myself? We are not equals. I don't care if it's insignificant or something you don't want to talk about. What? I'm ordering you to tell me. A trifling blunder would not get someone sent to live with a cursed man in a house spoken of so unfavorably. Whatever she had done at the Bollinger estate, that had something to do with why she was here. If she truly hadn't done anything, then she had something to gain from this place, or possibly from me. And if that was the case, I had to get her to talk. To make me... Giselle's eyes were open wide. I recognized the look she was giving me. I knew very well what that gaze meant. You're an abomination. It was the same as them. Fear, contempt, revulsion, repulsion. The way she acted, the way she spoke. It was exactly the same. You're no different. I made her uncomfortable. I made her afraid. She thought I was unpleasant. She thought I was despicable. She thought I was an abomination. In a frenzy, I grabbed her by the shoulders, clamping down far more powerfully than I had meant to. Ow! Stop! Her face, contorted in pain, morphed into someone else's. Who was I directing my anger at? Where was this rage being aimed? Who are you calling an abomination? What? Tell me, who? The black furor bubbling up from within me knew no end. The girl, she ridiculed me. She denied my identity with her glare. I couldn't escape from that phantom, that reality. What are... I never called you a... No! Get away from me! Get your hands off me! Giselle's scream echoed in the entrance hall, rattling my eardrums. She frantically smacked my arm side. and then I came back to my senses. She was standing a little ways away, breathing heavily, arms wrapped tight around her body, glowering at me, showing her opposite. Wait, doesn't that mean she's affected by the curse now? Ah. Enlightening. No, no, no. You just, you startled me, that's all. Some servant you are, telling your master not to touch you. Oh, right. I have, you know... I'm, allergic to people. It's a very unique condition, I hear. I mean, can you believe that? See, you know how some people get all red and itchy when they touch a dog or cat? It's that, except for people, so... So, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. Okay, so maybe he doesn't have the curse in this version of the story. I beg your forgiveness. Why don't you speak your mind? What? This is what's going through your mind right now. I have nothing to apologize for. No, that's not... I can somewhat sympathize with your plight, being made to apologize even though you're hurting. I raised my hand against you first, after all. Then you forgive me? Sympathy does not equate to forgiveness. Now, you take care of the package. I'm heading back to my chambers. What is it? You're not going to make me leave after what I just did? No, I am not. For it would seem I can make you leave on your own whenever I so please. Besides, I had yet to learn what she had done. It would be exceedingly difficult to get the story from her own mouth, which left me with one option: to write a letter to my mother, as much as the very thought revolted me. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Mikhail wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me, but there was little point in asking when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Although at first I had been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me, the more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. What was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pews seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why there would be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. It's a very well-made chapel, at any rate. I doubted Mikhail had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him, and he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers. Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other options. Don't you worry. It'll all work out, promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent, noble house, way out of reach of some small-time merchants like us. You never know, this could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back onto our feet. Oh, for goodness sake, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to Mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm going to make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? Ahem. How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See, how about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then, my sister fell in love with a moderately well-off aristocrat. Both my mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry, but their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger's estate approached me. He said they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer, so I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. I just pray that nothing bad happens to my sister, and that Mom is getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Ah, the light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high, that no, my prayers would not be answered. The bluish-white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Giselle was sitting at one of the pews in the room with the stained glass window. Just looking at her, you might have thought she was offering a prayer. But the words coming from her mouth were anything but prayerful. They were filled with resentment. They have plenty of money, a sullied woman. And then I never asked to end up like this. So this is what's beneath that facade. Most likely, money's what she's after. All I need to do now is confirm my suspicions with them. Just what awful secrets will I uncover? I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew with her head drooped, a cursory glance before leaving the chapel. I had somewhere else to be. The bitterly cold outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I had stepped beyond the mansion's walls. A thick mist canopied the night sky, blocking out the moonlight. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving the house. It had been 10 years since I had seen the mansion from the outside, and it hadn't changed one bit. A gloomy scar upon the earth, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically approach. And nevertheless, it was better than that house. Yes? Who is it? Mikkel. What? Mikkel Bollinger? Just one moment. I'll be right there. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. Wow, I must say, this is rather unexpected. Just one word and I would have been up there in a heartbeat. And how was I supposed to do that? I am regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons. Right. Yes. My apologies. This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Bollinger family. His job, to watch over me. That said, we never actually interacted. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive and whether I remained in the mansion. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about me. Well then, what can I do for you? The manservant was visibly rattled. Afraid, too. But not because of the difference in our social ranks. I had a pretty good idea what he had been told about me. He was afraid of me, or more specifically, my curse. People fear that which they cannot comprehend. Not just children, adults as well. They fear demons, witches, and curses, anything impure or not of this world. but I had long since gotten used to being viewed as such. It didn't sadden me, it didn't disappoint me, it didn't pain me. Some things were too foolish to concern yourself over. Though it certainly doesn't make me feel good either. I was, on some level, annoyed. That woman's appearance at the mansion had created ripples in my once tranquil life. So before I got into the real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head. There's no need to be afraid. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. How rude of me. You're right. My sincerest apologies. Your job is to keep watch over me. If the mere sight of me has you trembling, what will you do if I try to run? I would have little trouble escaping. That would be quite unfortunate. What would I ever tell your mother? I'm not sure what that would end well at all. You could lose everything you've been paid so far. In fact, you might be lucky to get out with your life. Surely your mother would not. You are aware of who you're dealing with, right? Mikkel, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to take your life. You wouldn't even make it back to report anything. Have mercy, Lord Mikkel. Please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. Only joking. What? I don't have the power to kill by way of curse. The man fell silent, but the look on his face said, You are cursed, though, aren't you? Once someone's got an idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible to get rid of it. I am so cursed that anyone can see it, that I need to be locked away in a dark mansion. I am here because I had a question for you, not to warn you that I plan to run away. A question? For me? Yes. Approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came to the mansion. Tell me what you know about her. I was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else. I believe you. I never thought they would tell you anything. Right. He had been hired to observe me, but that's all he was, a hired hand. He wouldn't be privy to the Bollinger family's internal affairs. Take this. A letter? I need you to deliver it to my mother. You could have just left it in the box from this month's package and I would have collected it when I dropped off the next one. I am in urgent need of information. Will you do this for me? Yes. Why, yes, absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning. Much appreciated. Good night. You too. Do take care. Okay, now this story is deviating quite a bit from the fake story that the maid told. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Alright, well, thanks for joining, and I will see you again tomorrow night.